Screen clear hoji pilane?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. Screen is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, good morning. Okay. So we will start the fundamental concept of a system, which already we have discussed in the first slide, I think, in the first class, first slide. That is the fundamental concept of a system, because another unit will start, that is the information system development life cycle. Clear? Information system development life cycle. That is ISDLC. Okay, information system development life cycle. So what is a system? Already we have discussed, that is, it is a set of interrelated components working together towards a common goal. Clear? So it is a set of interrelated interrelated components, and they work together to achieve a goal, achieve an objective. So that is, there is a common goal of a system normally. So it is a foundational concept of many fields, including information system management, engineering, and computer science. In every field you find a system. Here in every field you find a system where it has a common goal. Sorry. So there are different components, as the definition says. It has different components. Clear? So different components are, we already discussed, that is the hardware and software are the components, main components. Then there is a interaction between them, that is another component. So interactivity is there. Then every system must have a boundary. Already we have discussed that each and every system works within a boundary, and beyond that boundary they they will not work. So every system must have a boundary within which it will work. Then another is environment. Every system is working within a environment, because if they will not work within their environment, then they may face different hurdles like loss, etc., etc. So every system must have an environment on which they will work. So again, to make a small denomination of the hardware and software, you find input is there, process is there, then output is there. And to support this output, support this system, that is, we have a feedback concept. That is, feedback mechanism are there. And after that, you have some control mechanisms or the rules and regulations to operate the system. Clear? How the first and foremost the first and the foremost component is our central objective, that is a goal or an objective. So already we have discussed all these concepts in first or second slide, I think. All these concepts are discussed. So to develop such type of a system having components and central objective, they are interrelated. So we follow some sort of phases. So each and every system has different phases. How it will develop, how it will work, and before going to develop or create a system, you have to follow some phases or some steps. That is the first step is the planning stage. That is the planning stage. So it defines the project scope, identify the objectives, estimate cost, and develop a schedule. So that is you have to plan for you have to plan for a system. What you will do? So you must have to plan. Suppose you want to um, um, develop a industry, small scale industry. Suppose you have to develop a or establish a pen company, pen that is which will be used by the students, officers, etc., etc., etc. You have to think. So you have to plan for that. What are the raw materials? What is the machine cost? Like this. So you have to plan. So that is the planning phase. This is the first phase, or we can say this is the planning phase. It defines the project scope, how your project will work. That is, you have to define the project scope in the planning phase. Then identify the objectives. What is your central objective, and how you accomplish that objective? Clear? So what is the central objective? So you have to identify the objective or define the objective. If you have no objective, then your project will not fulfill or not work properly. That's why you have to identify the objectives. Then you have to estimate the cost. You have to make a study regarding the estimation of the cost involved in your project. That is also in the planning phase. That is in the planning phase. We studied it early, but it is a gist one. So then you have to develop a schedule. Then in what date you have to what part in the next date what you you have to make a schedule, prepare a schedule. That is, scheduling is a part of the planning phase. Okay. After a thorough planning, you go for the next. You get some data. After you fix your objective in planning phase, you have to analyze this concept. That is, gather and analyze the business requirements. Why you have to want to do this? For suppose you have an old system and you want to develop another new system. What happens? You must find out what are the losses or what are the lacunas within the old system, so that when you go for the new system or when you start developing the new system, you have to overcome that problems, or you have to solve that problems in your new system. So that's why you have to gather information. That is, information gathering is the main function of the system analysis or analysis phase. That is the information gathering. Then you have to analyze this collection of information. Then you have to analyze this information according to your business requirement. Clear? According to your business requirement. And after that, you have to make a document of the functional needs. So in first phase, what happened? You have to fix your objective. You have to fix your objective in the first phase, that is in the planning phase. Then you have to, in second phase, you have to gather the information and analyze, make a documentation. So this is the Pakka phases of the system development life cycle. or information system development, like say. After collecting the needs and analyzing the mean for development, you have to go for a schema. You have to design the system. So what are the flows of data? What are the who is the end user? Who is the user? Who are the users and how they operate the system? Like, so these are the different designs are there. That is input design, output design, form design. That is the architecture. We can say this is the architecture of the system. So the requirements, convert the requirements which collects from the analysis phase, convert the requirements into the system architecture. You have to plot the requirements on a design, that is input design, form design, then output design, etc., process design, like this. That is the design page. And then you have to make a design for the data to be stored, that is the database design. And you have to also design a user interface, that is the front end. In system development, what you can say, it is a backend and front page, front end, backend and front end designs. The backend is the database design, and the front end is the user interface design. Anybody can say, have you any knowledge on front end and back end design, or any example anybody can say? Hello.
No, sir.
No, sir. No, sir.
No, sir, we don't have any idea.
Okay. In database design, you find that is you have heard about the SQL server, I think, or no SQL, that is MongoDB, etc., etc. So in database design, you have to design how the data will be stored in a table under a database, centralized database. Clear? The data are stored in a table. So that is the backend. And in the front end, you find that is, we can say, user interface, means how it is easier to enter the data, to process the data, to output the data in shape of reports from the database through a front end, which can be used by the user only. The user may be your low-level manager, user may be your MIS summarized manager, that is management information system, or we can say the middle level manager or tactical level manager, then or the planners or the executives, etc., etc. So what now I am using the
Sir, এটা ବୁଝିହେଲା ଟିକେ ଗୋଟେ example ଦେଇ କରିପାରିବେ ଗୋଟେ case study type ର?
हाँ कहली बा, suppose ଆମେ ଗୋଟେ DDC student कर database कराओ, got my point? ଓଡ଼ିଆରେ କହୁଛି ନା କି ଓଡ଼ିଆ ବୁଝିପାରିବେନି, ଅଦର ଲାଙ୍ଗୁଏଜ ଇଂଲିଶ ରେ ଡାଇରେକ୍ଟ କହିବି? Yeah, so we have to enter the data, we have to use the DDC database. Clear? In a DDC student database, what happened? It is stored, the data of the students will be stored in the DDC database. So how it will store? Means it is stored in different tables. A student detail is there, student address table is there, student, in a table you find different rows and columns. In a database, different tables are there. So that in a table, it is you find different fields are there. In each field you find one type of data. Suppose student for number is in one field and it is in column form, and the data, when you enter your data, you have to automatically find a for number when you register yourself in the DDC, and that registration form is the front end, and the data stored in backside in our DDC database or DDC server is the backend. Clear? Bujhela?
Sir.
So बैकएंड कहले हम कहूचे सर्वर रे डाटा स्टोर होबा फ्रंट एंड कहले जोटा को यूजर काम करबो जो जहा को फेस करी लाइक मु वर्तमान पढोची आई हैव यूज्ड ए फ्रंट एंड लाइक पावर पॉइंट प्रेजेंटेशन रो फ्रंट एंड बट जेतेले मो ए जिंसटा बनेची डेवलप करिची गट माय पॉइंट जेतेले डेवलप करिची से जो डाटा रा मते शो करूची एटा मते फ्रंट एंड रे कोली शो करूची किंतु स्टोरेज जाय कि मो डिस्क भीतर गोटे फाइल आकार रे गट माय पॉइंट सो दैट इज बैकएंड रे कोन हला कोड स्टोर हला बट मते दरकार जे मु केमिति काम करि परिबि या सहित इजीली सो दैट इज कॉल्ड दैट इज द यूज ऑफ फ्रंट एंड and that is connectivity is there, database connectivity is there within the front end and back end जेतेले front end रे गोटे डाटा पकोछि से back end रे जाई केमति स्टोर हबो को जगह रे स्टोर हबो that is the connectivity जोटा को हमें कहूचे JDBC connectivity हमें कहू जावा रे normally clear so that is the connectivity so this is the design it is normally developed in architecture it is shows in the design phase of the system that is convert the requirements into system architecture then you have to make a database design and make a user interface for the for to be used by the users clear then after the this is the only schema that is the architecture how the data will be stored what are the primary keys what are the foreign keys like this in a database system there are key concepts are there that is the primary key foreign key etc which we will study in the last unit that is the database system so key concepts are there so how they will be stored in the database and how the users will work with the system that is you find in the system architecture and after that you the system administrator is going to develop the system or the system engineers will write the codes or going to develop the system that is actual coding of the system based on the design documents it is in the development phase so in the development phase what happened actual program is written actual software is developed here it is information system so the software is developed to run the or to solve the problem okay so actual coding of the system based on the design documents is created here after now the development work is complete what happened before implementation you find some tests different types of tests that is the verify and validate that the system works correctly or and meets the requirement so different tests are there test cases are there testing is nothing but the verifying the codes that are work according to fulfilling the objectives of the system clear that is in the planning phase in the planning phase you find the objective central objective before going to the before developing or before make a expenses on make a expenditure on the development work you have to first fix about your central objective along with a schedule that is within this schedule the you have to develop this system or you have to obsolete the old system and install the new system so according to the central objective you have to test that this is meant for our organization and they are the users and how they will use this you have to test so there are different types of testings are there that is black box testing white box testing and system testing integration testing etc so alpha testing beta testing like this so different testing techniques are there to test the coding part or development part of the organization then after that after test is complete if there is a error then it will go for again go to the planning phase what are in the objective and what are to be put what are lacunas within the analysis phase what type of information is needed in the analysis phase but we have collected another information. Then after that, what is the error in the design phase? Then in the coding phase. So it is a cyclic process. After testing, you have to implement this. After completion of the cycle, then you have to implement it. When that is called the deployment of the system into the production environment, means deployment of the system in your organization or actual the installation of the system. When the system will work, it shows it is working perfectly. Time goes out. After that, the system become needs updates, enhancements, bugs. Day by day, it will need something. So that can be found within the maintenance phase. Yeah, that can be found within the maintenance phase. That's why maintenance or feedback is the most crucial part of the system development.
Sir, bug fixes means what, sir?
Bug fix means जो errors. Bugs कहले errors. These are the errors. कोठे हमर कोठे कोडिंग एरर आसीबो, कोठे हमर अपडेट पैच दरकार, सेठी हमर अपडेट पैच न देले टाइम टू टाइम हमर चेंज हुए, सिस्टम रा रिक्वायरमेंट चेंज हुए, सो सेठी गोटे एरर आसीबो जे मु एटा चाहूची बट मोर सिस्टम ताकू सपोर्ट करूनी. So these are the bugs. I'm calling errors or bugs. Software line nesita. Got my point. So performing the ongoing updates, enhancements, and bug error fixes. Error. These are the bugs. Coding errors are the bugs. We can say. So these are normally found in the maintenance phase. So as a in a overall, you find the phases of the system development, information system development life cycle. That is planning phase is there, system analysis phase is there, system design phase is there, development phase is there, testing, implementation, maintenance. Anybody any doubt regarding the concept? तापर हमें detail को जीवा. Concept रा किसी problem अच्छी कर रहा? Anybody? That is in planning phase you find the central objective. You have to think about the project. कौन project करिवो? Then identify the objective. What is the motto of your project or motto of the system? Then you have to make a study, overall study, that is the estimate the cost, what cost it involves, and I have such type of fund, but it requires more fund or less fund like this. That is you have to make a estimate and then develop a schedule. That is there is a time period. There is a time period in which you have to complete your project, complete your work. So that is in the planning phase. Understood? Then you have to go for the analysis phase. In the analysis phase, you find what are the requirements, actual requirement of your system to achieve the goal, to achieve the objective. Clear? What are the actual requirement? So you have to gather some information and some different techniques are used for information gathering or gathering some information about the old system as well as to develop the new system. So information gathering is a technique through which you have to collect data. Under information gathering, different techniques are used like interview, prototype, etc., etc., etc. We will study in detail later. Then the documents, the functional needs of the documents. After analysis phase, you have to make a sketch. That is the convert requirements into system architecture. That is you have to make a sketch. That is the design of your system. Under design, you find two types of designs are there. One is database design, that is the backend design, and another is the user interface design, or we can say this is the front end design. So in each and every system, you find two concepts. One is backend, another is front end. Clear? Then after that, after getting the sketch, you have to go for development work. Actual development work will be done. That is, you have to write the code or write the program for that purposes. And after completion of the coding work or preparation of the development of the project or software, you have to make a test before implementation. Before implementation, you have to make test whether it fulfills our objective or not. It will work perfectly or there is some errors. So you have to test different tests, system integration test, black box test, white box test, and etc. etc. So different test cases are there. So techniques are there, test techniques are there to test your project. Clear? Then you have to, after testing the and you satisfy that my project will work properly, then you have to go to the market. Okay, you have to go to the market and implement the system, which will actual work will be done in your system. Implement the system. So deploy the system or install the system into the production environment, into actual field. After implementation, your work will going on. And you have another mechanism which provide you the what are the errors found while running. That is the perform the ongoing updates. Any update is required, then you have to make updates. Any enhancement you require, suppose you are some department, then your project will not support, then it become obsolete. So any enhancement it requires, your software will require, then you have to load the enhancements. Then you have to fix the errors. If any error found, you have to fix the error. To fix the error, you have to again go to, it is a cyclic process, you have to again go to the planning phase, then analysis phase, then design phase, then development phase, then testing phase, then implementation phase. So this is the that is the stages of system development life cycle. Clear? So in a gist, you find this is the each phase provides what? In the planning phase, already I have discussed, that is in the planning phase, you find the project plan. In the planning phase, you find the project plan. What is these are the outputs of each phase. These are the outputs of each phase. Already I have discussed, that is the planning phase, you find after the planning phase, you find a project plan, systematic or detailed project plan. After completion of the analysis phase, you find the requirement specifications. So these are the requirements. Suppose I will go go for a I want to do a project like development of development of a pen factory. In a pen factory, what are the requirements? That is, what are the raw materials, what are the processes, and what are the market requirements, like this. So there is a requirement specifications are found within the after the analysis phase. Then design phase. In the design phase, you what it will output? It will output a architecture here or design documents. These are the outputs of the design phase. That is the design document or architecture of the document. It is a sketch. It is not the actual one. It is the sketch on pen and paper in the design phase. Then you find after development phase, you find the program or software or source code. We can say this is the source code or software or program, etc. etc. from the development phase. After testing phase, you find the test cases and results. What are the errors, or it is working perfectly, like this. Different test cases are there. Different types of tests are done within this process or phases, then you find their results. Then after implementation phase, you find the user manuals and training. After implementation, you prepare a user manual, how the users will work within this. How the users will work with the system. That is the user manual is there. If it needs some training system, you have to perform some training to your employees, training to the users. Clear? So after implementation, you have to make these manuals or training. Then after that, you have to maintenance phase. From the maintenance phase, you find updated documentation, then patches like update patches, etc., etc. So this is the output of the system development life cycle phases. Clear? Then we will go for the fact finding techniques. So different fact finding techniques are used to gather the information. So central objective part is over. That is planning phase. This is there is no separate part of the planning phase, because you have to use a central objective for that in your planning phase. And for to fulfill the objective, you have to gather some information in the analysis phase. So that is these are the fact finding techniques. You can say these are the fact finding techniques used to gather useful information about your system. So these are the according to the department objectives, decisions made and the facts upon which they are based, what is done, to what purpose, who done it, and where it is done. So to solve these problems, to solve these questions, you have to gather information.
Sir,
Sir,
actually setup we have completed that. Then after developing the software, we have to go for fact finding. Na kon?
ନା 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 ଆମେ ଏଇଟା ଯୋଉ କଲେ ଏଇଟା ହଉଛି ଜିଷ୍ଟ ରେ ତମକୁ କହିଦେଲି ଏତିକି ଜିନିଷ। ତା ଭିତରେ ଆମର ଯୋଉ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ଆନାଲିସିସ୍ ପେଜ ଅଛି, ସୋ ଏଠି ଆମର କିଛି ଟେକ୍ନିକ ଆମେ ୟୁଜ କରୁଛେ ଫର ଫ୍ୟାକ୍ଟ ଫାଇଣ୍ଡିଂ ଆନାଲିସିସ୍ ପେଜ ର ଏଟା। କ୍ଲିୟର? ଏଇଟା ତମକୁ କହିଦେଲି, ଗୋଟେ ଓଭରଅଲ ଆଇଡିଆ ଦେଇଦେଲି ଯେ ହ୍ୱାଟ ଆର ଦି ଫେଜେସ୍ ଆଣ୍ଡ ହ୍ୱାଟ ଆର ଡନ୍ ୱିଦିନ୍ ଦ ଫେଜେସ୍। ତ ତାକୁ ଡିଟେଲ ଯିବାକୁ ହେଲେ ଆମକୁ ଏଇ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ଆନାଲିସିସ୍ ଫେଜ ରେ ଆମକୁ କିଛି ଡିଟେଲ ଜିନିଷ ଅଛି। ଡିଜାଇନ ଫେଜ ରେ ଅଛି କିଛି ଡିଟେଲ ଜିନିଷ, ଦେନ୍ ଆମର ଟେଷ୍ଟିଂ ଫେଜ ରେ କିଛି ଡିଟେଲ ଜିନିଷ ଅଛି। ଏଇ ତିନିଟା ଆଗର ଡିଟେଲ ତମର କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ରେ ଆସେ ସବୁବେଳେ, ବୁଝିଲ ନା? ତ ଡିଟେଲ ଜିନିଷକୁ ଆମକୁ ଯିବାକୁ ହେଲେ ଏଠି ଆମର ଗୋଟେ ହେଲା ଫ୍ୟାକ୍ଟ ଫାଇଣ୍ଡିଂ ଟେକ୍ନିକ ଆମର ୟୁଜ ହୁଏ ଟୁ ଗ୍ୟାଦର ଇନଫର୍ମେସନ। ମୁଁ କହିଥିଲି ଇନଫର୍ମେସନ ଗ୍ୟାଦରିଂ ଇଜ ଏ ପାର୍ଟ ଅଫ ଦ information gathering is a part of the analysis phase. So how you gather the information? So you have to use some techniques to gather the information. Got my point? So what are the techniques used to gather information, like interview ko, prototype ko, like this? So to gathering information, we have to use some fact finding techniques. Fact finding mane kon ki? What do you mean by fact finding? To find
Fact
some
finding.
facts. To find some facts about the old system and to prepare for the new system. Old system का obsolete करिया, नया system तैयार करिया, और totally we will prepare a new system. दीटा का में हमको fact finding technique use करिया को पड़ेगा। So this is the part of the system analysis phase. Got my point? मैं कह दिल ना यार डिटेल टिके पढ़िया पड़ियो। बुझेला तो जिस्ट रे मैं कहिदेली जे गोटे पिला जदी न पढिबो भी एतिकी रु किछि निजे लिखि दे परिबो। गट बाय पर हां। So that is the in detail we use the fact finding techniques. Clear? So different fact finding techniques that is about useful about that is information about to do your or about to perform the central objective, about to achieve the central objective, you have to gather information. So to gather information, you have to use some techniques. That techniques are called the fact finding techniques, to finding the facts about your system. So which fulfill the departmental objectives, decision made and facts upon the which they are based. Clear? So to fulfill this, we have to answer these questions like what is done, ଆମେ କଣ କରିବା, to what purpose, କୋଉ purpose ପାଇଁ ଆମେ କରିବାକୁ ଯାଉଛେ, then who done it, କିଏ କରିବ ଏଇଟା ଆମ ପାଇଁ, what who are the users or who are the developers, and where it is done, କୋଉ ଜାଗାରେ ହବ, that is our environment or boundary, we can say there is କୋଉ environment ଆମେ suppose ଗୋଟେ mining ର ଗୋଟେ ଲୁହା iron ଇଏ କରିବା, ଆମେ ଚିନ୍ତା କରିବା କେଉଁଝର ବଡ଼ବିଲ ସେପଟ ଏରିଆ ଯୋଉଠି ଆମକୁ ର ମେଟେରିଆଲ ଭଲ ମିଳିବ, ସେଠି ଆମକୁ ପଡିବ, like this ମାନେ it is the practical example, clear? So where it is to be done, କୋଉ ଜାଗାରେ କଲେ ଆମକୁ ଠିକ ହବ, so that is a system. So critical factors affecting the business, what are the factors affecting the business, then what are the staff and equipment cost. So different fact finding techniques are used, clear? What is fact finding? It is a process of collecting information about the current system, user requirements and organizational environment. That is the information. Fact finding means it is the collection of information, clear? So it is especially important in the planning and system analysis phases of information system development life cycle. So common factoring technique includes interview, questionnaire, observation, documentation, review and prototyping. So these are the techniques. That's my point. These are the techniques used. जो fact finding technique होचे, so these are the techniques used to collect the data, collect the facts. Clear? That is interview is one of the technique. Questionnaire is another technique. Observation is another technique. Then documentation review is another technique, and prototype is another technique to collect the facts, collect the errors of your old system, or to to process, to develop a new system, you have to collect the data, facts, why you want to do this project and what are the needs. So these are the fact finding techniques, clear? So different fact finding techniques are used. So to learn about the existing system, system analyst needs to collect data related to the system. So usually the data is related to organization staff, documents used, formats used in the input and output processes are collected. So this information is obtained through fact finding tools like review documents, questionnaires, observations, and interview. Clear? So these are the techniques. That is the review of documents, or we can say document checking. That is the pen and paper, the paperwork. That is the documentation means this is the paperwork. The papers are checking. So what are the auditing of the papers like this? Then questionnaires are there, observations are there. Clear? So though the fact finding, we are able to gather user information, that is departmental objectives, decisions made and facts upon which they are based. What is done? Already we have discussed this. The interview. Then we will go for interview. That is the first technique used in. That is personal interview is a recognized and most important fact finding technique. Interview, all of you know what is interview. So one-to-one interview is there. In a GD you have to make interview like this by presenting yourself like this. So personal interview is the one-to-one interview. In this system, analyst gathers information from individual through face-to-face interaction. Through that is the face-to-face interview. The interviews are used to find the facts, verify the facts, clarify the facts, get the customer involved, identify the system requirements, and know all the options. Means the system analyst go to the organization where the for which it is to be developed. The system will be developed. Then it will go to the organization, and some employees are there, some managers are there, some users are there. So they make interview, arrange an interview one by one, and collect the data, like find the facts why they need a new system, because it is nothing but a development of a new system, whether there is a old system or it is totally new. So it will to find the facts, it will verify the facts or clarify the facts. The system analyst go to the organization and make interview of the employees. So it is normally conducted by the system analysis. To conduct interview, the interviewer must have personality which helps him to be familiar with the strangers or the different types of people, because the interviewer will make interview of the employees, so he must be have some behavior, good behavior, and to carry out the interview. So why interviews are carried out? To study, to get knowledge, to identify the working system. Means if there is a old system, they will collect the data about the old system. What are the lacunas or what are the problems faced by the customers, faced by the employees or the users while working on the old system. That is to study or the get knowledge or the identify of the working of the system. To explore the relationship between the information system and users. Sorry. To explore the relationship between the information system and the users, and to study the drawback of the current system. So interview is carried out for this purpose. Clear? Then about the interviewers. So interviewing is an art. Few analysts learn it in school or universities, but the most of them develop expertise through experience. How to take interviews of the employees or the users. So the interviewers art consists of creating a permissive situation in which the answers offered are reliable. They will make a faith on the people that we are nothing, but we are not make a harm to you. We will just collect information about the system, and your name and address will be hidden. Clear? So that is about the interviewers. Then different types of interviews are to be done. That is, one is structured interview and another is unstructured interview. So structured interview are those where the interviewer is asked a standard set of questions in a particular order. That is called the structured interview. In a structured interview, what happens? There is a standard set of questions are to be prepared by the interviewer. Here, the manager or the system analyst prepare a standard set of questions which will be asked to all these employees. So all the interviewees are asked the same set of questions, and here the questions are predefined questions. Means before that it is prepared, and a set of a set of questions have to be prepared earlier, and it the system analyst will go to that organization and ask one by one the same set of questions. So there are two types of formats for conducting this type of interview, like structured interview, that is open response format, then closed response format. As the name suggests, you find it is in which the respondent is free to answer in his own words. That is the open-ended means they can provide their views. They are free to provide their views. That is called open response format. That is come under the structured interview. For example, why you are dissatisfied with current system processing, then he can write his response in subjective matter according by using his own words. That is the open response. He is free. The interviewee is free to provide his response with his own words, own vocabulary. In closed response, you find the MCQs. It is in which limits the respondent to opt their answers from a set of already prescribed choices. That is, we can say that is the multiple choice questions or MCQs. Are you satisfied with the current system processing? Yes or no? He can put yes or no. Only two responses are there here like this. So that is the closed response format. That is a part of structured interview. Then unstructured interview. Unstructured interview are those in which interviews are taken in a question and answer format. Here the respondents are free to answer in their own words, just like our open response format. Clear? So, and the questions are not predefined, or all the questions are not same for the employees, for the interviews. So this is the difference between structured and unstructured interviews. So it is one way to ensure that those same questions are get asked to all the candidates in structure. It is less structured and individual interviewers can determine what they are going to ask the candidate. So it is not predefined questions. All questions are not predefined. All candidates are evaluated using a common rating scale. A standardized rating scale is not required here because it is unstructured. So there is no standardized rating scale is needed. In structure, you find interviewers are in agreement on acceptable answers. But in case of unstructured, interviewers do not need to agree on acceptable answers. So what answers they will give, it is agreed by the interviewer. But in case of unstructured, it is not acceptable. All answers not to be acceptable because if it is a MCQ, in case of structured, it is a MCQ. But in case of unstructured, there is no MCQ. So it is agreed. Here in MCQ, you find yes or no, true or false, etc., etc. But in case of unstructured, you don't find true or false, yes or no. That is, they can provide the according to their own words. They can provide the response according to their own words. So it may be acceptable by the interviewer or may not be. It is non-flexible in structure because it is in a fixed format. It is completely flexible because it is not in a fixed format. This method is less time consuming. It is more time consuming. Clear? So this is difference between structured interview and unstructured interview. Anybody any doubt? First fact finding technique, that is the interview. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Any doubt? Interview.
No, sir.
That is structured interview, unstructured interview, and what are the difference between these two? That is the first fact finding technique. Sorry. Okay. Then next is our questionnaire. Next class कार अछि?
Yes, sir. MCSI ଅଛି.
ଏବେ ଅଛି?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा ହଉ ତାହେଲେ ହଉ. Okay ତାହେଲେ. Okay. We'll study tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
ବୁଝି ହଉଛି ତ?